On a stormy night in the small town of Hollowbrook, a mysterious package arrived at the doorstep of the Johnson family. Inside, nestled among layers of delicate tissue paper, was a baby doll with lifelike features. The accompanying note read, "To Emily, a companion for all your dreams." Little did the Johnsons know that this seemingly innocent gift would unravel a nightmare beyond their wildest imagination. Emily, a bright-eyed 7-year-old with a penchant for dolls, embraced the new addition to her collection with glee. The baby doll, crafted with meticulous detail, had an almost sentient charm that captivated the Johnson household. As night fell, a soft lullaby seemed to emanate from the doll, soothing Emily into a peaceful slumber. In the bewitching hours of midnight, the Johnsons were awakened by a haunting melody. Following the ethereal tune, they discovered Emily's room bathed in an otherworldly glow. The baby doll, now animated, swayed in rhythm to its own lullaby. Terrified yet mesmerized, the family watched as the doll's porcelain eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. The baby doll, named Seraphina by Emily, formed an unspoken alliance with the unsuspecting child. During the day, Seraphina behaved like any other doll, but as the moon ascended, a sinister aura surrounded her. The doll seemed to absorb the essence of the night, becoming a vessel for a malevolent force that lurked in the shadows. Emily's parents, grappling with their own unease, noticed a change in their daughter. She spoke of an unseen playmate, a voice that whispered secrets in the dark. As Emily's bond with Seraphina deepened, her once vibrant eyes took on an unnatural glow, mirroring the haunting radiance of the doll's porcelain gaze. Strange occurrences unfurled in the wake of Seraphina's arrival. Objects moved of their own accord, and whispers echoed through the Johnson household. The doll, seemingly innocuous during the day, held a malevolent influence that manifested with each passing night. Emily, blissfully unaware of the sinister forces at play, reveled in the nocturnal escapades orchestrated by her enchanted companion. One night, as the clock struck 12, the Johnsons were drawn to Emily's room by the tinkling sound of porcelain against porcelain. To their horror, they discovered a macabre tea party in progress. Seraphina, surrounded by Emily's other dolls, poured invisible tea into tiny cups, her porcelain eyes fixated on her audience. Emily's terrified parents. As the doll's malevolent influence seeped into the fabric of the Johnsons' lives, the once peaceful household echoed with unearthly whispers. Shadows lengthened, and Emily's laughter, once a melody of innocence, took on an eerie undertone. The doll, now a conduit for a malevolent spirit, orchestrated a spectral symphony that reverberated through the corridors of the Johnsons' haunted home. Desperate to understand the supernatural phenomena plaguing their lives, the Johnsons sought the help of a renowned paranormal investigator, Dr. Eleanor Blackwood. Dr. Blackwood, armed with an array of arcane tools and ancient knowledge, delved into the spectral tapestry that enveloped the Johnson household. As she approached Emily's room, the air grew thick with a palpable malevolence. Dr. Blackwood, guided by an otherworldly intuition, uncovered the truth behind Seraphina's unholy existence. The doll, an unwitting vessel, harbored a demonic entity that had latched onto Emily's innocence. The investigator, realizing the urgency of the situation, prepared to confront the malevolent force that sought to consume the child's soul. In a climactic showdown between the paranormal investigator and the demonic entity, the Johnson household became a battleground for spectral forces. Dr. Blackwood, armed with ancient incantations, faced the malevolent spirit that had ensnared Seraphina. The doll, once a vessel, now contorted with the demonic force, unleashed an otherworldly presence that tested the limits of Dr. Blackwood's arcane expertise. With each incantation, the demonic entity resisted, clinging to its newfound host. Dr. Blackwood, determined to save Emily from the clutches of the malevolent force, performed a harrowing exorcism rite. The room quivered with supernatural energy as the investigator grappled with the demonic entity that writhed within the porcelain confines of Serafina. As the exorcism reached its zenith, a blinding light engulfed the room. The malevolent force, unable to withstand the power of the ancient incantations, relinquished its hold on Serafina and dissipated into the abyss. The doll, now devoid of the demonic influence, returned to its inanimate state, its porcelain eyes no longer harboring the haunting glow. Emily, freed from the supernatural shackles that had ensnared her, awoke to a new dawn. Her parents, emotionally exhausted yet relieved, embraced their daughter in a fragile reunion. The Johnson household, once plagued by the malevolent force, now stood silent, its walls no longer echoing with the haunting symphony orchestrated by the enchanted doll. In the aftermath of the supernatural ordeal, the Johnsons grappled with the haunting legacy of Serafina's brief but malevolent existence. The doll, now a relic of the supernatural, was sealed away in a sacred chest, an artifact that bore witness to the ethereal forces that had briefly held the family in their spectral grip. Despite the apparent resolution, an eerie presence lingered in the Johnson household. Late at night, faint echoes of a lullaby could still be heard, and shadows danced in the corners of Emily's room. The family, though free from the demonic entity's grip, sensed an unseen force that defied explanation. The enchanted doll, sealed away but not forgotten, seemed to cast a spectral shadow over the once haunted home. As Emily grew older, the paranormal anomalies in the Johnson household intensified. Objects continued to move on their own, and whispers of an unseen presence permeated the air. The family, haunted by the memories of the malevolent force that had seized their lives, grappled with the disconcerting reality that the supernatural residue of Serafina's possession persisted. Driven by an insatiable curiosity and a desire to banish the lingering presence, Emily delved into occult research. She sought ancient tomes and consulted with mystics in an attempt to understand the spectral forces that defied conventional explanation. The more she delved into the arcane, the clearer it became. The demonic entity that once inhabited Serafina had left behind an indelible mark on the Johnson household. In an effort to communicate with the residual energy, Emily organized a séance. A medium was summoned, and the Johnsons gathered around a table adorned with mystic symbols. As the séance unfolded, the room quivered with a strange energy, and Emily felt a chilling presence, an echo of the malevolent force that had once claimed Serafina. During the séance, the medium became a conduit for the residual energy. Unearthly whispers filled the room, revealing the tormented history of the demonic entity that had sought refuge in Serafina. The entity, once a malevolent force in its own right, had been cast out from a dark realm and had inadvertently sought shelter within the innocent confines of the doll. As the revelations unfolded, it became clear that the entity sought a resolution to its own torment. It yearned for redemption, a chance to break free from the spectral limbo that bound it to the Johnson household. In a haunting bargain, the entity proposed a pact. It would guide the family to a long-lost artifact that held the key to its liberation, in exchange for its own release. The Johnsons, torn between skepticism and a desperate desire to banish the lingering presence, embarked on a supernatural quest, guided by the entity's cryptic clues. The journey led them to forgotten corners of Hollowbrook, where ancient symbols and mystic energies hinted at the artifact's elusive location. As the family delved deeper into the occult undercurrents of their town, they realized that the spectral forces that bound them were intricately woven into the fabric of Hollowbrook's history. The quest culminated in the discovery of a cursed artifact, an ancient amulet with inscriptions that resonated with the entity's tormented essence. The artifact, hidden for centuries, held the key to breaking the malevolent force's spectral chains. As the Johnsons retrieved the amulet, a palpable energy enveloped them, signaling the imminent climax of their supernatural odyssey. In a ritual guided by the entity's ethereal whispers, the Johnsons used the ancient amulet to unlock a gateway to the spectral realm. The entity, its essence tethered to the cursed artifact, faced a spectral liberation that transcended the boundaries between the living and the supernatural. As the amulet radiated with an otherworldly light, the Johnsons witnessed the entity's release, the haunting presence that had once plagued them dissipating into the cosmic tapestry. With the entity's release, the Johnson household fell silent. The lingering presence that had cast a spectral shadow over their lives faded, leaving behind a sense of uneasy respite. The amulet, now devoid of the tormented essence, became an artifact of the family's supernatural journey, an heirloom that bore witness to their enduring resilience in the face of ethereal challenges. As the years passed, the Johnsons, though forever changed by their encounters with the supernatural, found solace in the newfound peace that enveloped their home. The haunted doll, Seraphina, remained sealed away, a silent witness to the family's paranormal odyssey. The artifact, safely preserved, served as a reminder that some legacies, though born from the shadows, could be resolved through courage and an understanding of the spectral realms that intertwined with the living. As the Johnsons settled into their now hushed lives, Emily's fascination with the supernatural persisted. Drawn to the unexplored corners of Hollowbrook's history, she unearthed forgotten journals and cryptic manuscripts. The town, she discovered, harbored a tapestry of secrets woven with spectral threads that connected the living and the unknown. Guided by the revelations within the unearthed manuscripts, Emily delved into the occult underbelly of Hollowbrook. She uncovered a secret society that had, for centuries, navigated the delicate balance between the living and the spectral. The society, known as the Arcane Veil, held ancient knowledge that could bridge the gap between the mundane and the supernatural. Emily, driven by an insatiable curiosity, sought entry into the Arcane Veil. Her quest led her through hidden passages and ancient rituals that tested her resolve. As she approached the society's clandestine meeting place, a sense of anticipation hung in the air, the unveiling of the secrets that had eluded the town for generations. Upon entering the hallowed halls of the Arcane Veil, Emily was met by mystics, scholars, and mediums who had dedicated their lives to understanding the spectral forces that permeated Hollowbrook. The society, recognizing Emily's unique connection to the supernatural, extended an invitation for her to join their ranks. United by a common purpose, the Johnsons and the Arcane Veil forged a supernatural alliance that sought to protect Hollowbrook from the ethereal forces that lurked in the shadows. In the years that followed, the Johnsons became guardians of the Arcane Veil, ensuring that the delicate balance between the living and the spectral remained undisturbed. Hollowbrook, once a town steeped in enigmatic whispers, embraced its newfound protectors. The haunted doll, Seraphina, and the cursed artifact became relics safeguarded by the Johnsons, a reminder that the supernatural realms could be navigated with knowledge, resilience, and an understanding of the spectral forces that intertwined with the living. Nestled in the heart of Ravenwood, a small town steeped in history, the Ravenwood Library stood as a towering edifice of knowledge. However, within its hallowed halls, the air bore a chilling weight, and the ancient tomes seemed to whisper secrets that transcended the written word. As night descended, the library transformed into a realm where the line between the living and the supernatural blurred. Eliza Thompson, the librarian, held the keys to the spectral secrets within the Ravenwood Library. As the clock struck midnight, she often heard spectral whispers that echoed through the dusty shelves. The apparitions of long-forgotten readers flickered in the peripheral vision, their eyes glazed with an insatiable thirst for knowledge that transcended the boundaries of the living. Ravenwood, known for its dark past, had stories etched into the very foundations of the library. Eldritch tales of forbidden tomes and occult rituals cast an ominous shadow over the once stately institution. The librarians who had come before Eliza whispered warnings of malevolent forces that stirred in the stacks, eager to ensnare unsuspecting souls in their spectral grasp. Eliza, driven by an insatiable curiosity, delved into the archives in pursuit of the library's spectral secrets. Ancient manuscripts and forbidden grimoires revealed the town's occult underbelly, and the librarian uncovered a pattern of mysterious disappearances that had plagued Ravenwood for centuries. The library, it seemed, held the key to a supernatural puzzle that unfolded with each turn of a page. One fateful night, Eliza found herself immersed in a ritual of midnight research. As she translated cryptic passages from an ancient tome, the library's atmosphere thickened with an otherworldly energy. Shadows danced in response to the arcane incantations, and Eliza felt an unseen presence, a spectral force that had stirred from its centuries-old slumber. Guided by a spectral intuition, Eliza discovered a hidden door behind a forgotten shelf. The door led to the forbidden section, an occult archive sealed off for centuries. As she ventured deeper, the air became charged with an ominous energy, and the whispers of eldritch entities resonated through the subterranean archives. Within the forbidden section, Eliza uncovered a malevolent manuscript, the Liber Umbra, a book rumored to hold the key to summoning otherworldly entities. As she deciphered its pages, the library's atmosphere twisted into a grotesque tableau. Shadows coalesced into ethereal forms, and the librarians of the past manifested, their eyes ablaze with an insatiable thirst for knowledge. The librarians, ensnared by the malevolent forces, orchestrated a spectral symphony that reverberated through the Ravenwood Library. Eliza, caught in the ethereal currents, witnessed the apparitions conducting an otherworldly dance. The forbidden knowledge they sought transcended the boundaries of the living, and the library's archives became a stage for a supernatural performance that unfolded with each haunting note. Realizing the malevolent intent behind the Liber Umbra, Eliza sought to unravel the spectral forces that held the librarians captive. The pages of the malevolent manuscript revealed a sinister summoning ritual that threatened to unleash an ancient entity. With time ticking away, Eliza raced against the spectral currents to thwart the otherworldly summoning that loomed over Ravenwood. Armed with a newfound knowledge of the summoning ritual, Eliza chanted desperate incantations to counteract the malevolent forces. The spectral librarians, caught in an ethereal struggle, wavered between the desire for forbidden knowledge and the redemption that lay beyond the veil. The library, bathed in an otherworldly glow, became a battleground where the living and the spectral clashed in a supernatural struggle for dominion. As Eliza's incantations reached their zenith, a blinding light engulfed the Ravenwood Library. The spectral librarians, torn between the allure of forbidden knowledge and the promise of redemption, faced an ethereal convergence. The ancient entity, poised to breach the veil between worlds, recoiled in the face of the librarian's desperate incantations. With the malevolent forces subdued, the Ravenwood Library fell silent. The whispers of spectral tomes, once an eerie symphony, became a haunting resonance that echoed through the stacks. Eliza, though wary from her supernatural ordeal, felt a profound connection to the librarians of the past, an unspoken bond that transcended the boundaries of the living. As the supernatural tumult subsided, Ravenwood Library bore the scars of the ethereal conflict. Lingering shadows clung to the shelves, and the air held a residual tension, a testament to the spectral struggles that had unfolded within its confines. Eliza, now attuned to the spectral nuances, felt the library's heartbeat, the pulse of knowledge that resonated between the pages of each ancient tome. In the days that followed, Eliza delved into the cryptic revelations that lingered within the veiled archives. Forgotten manuscripts, once obscured by malevolent forces, now offered insights into the delicate balance between the living and the supernatural. The library, though scarred, had become a repository of arcane wisdom, an enclave where the echoes of spectral struggles whispered through the ages. Eliza, now bound to the spectral currents that flowed through the library, found herself ensnared in an ethereal connection. The ancient tomes seemed to respond to her presence, revealing secrets that transcended the known realms. As she navigated the stacks, the whispers of spectral librarians guided her toward forgotten volumes that held the key to understanding the delicate equilibrium between the mundane and the supernatural. The spectral librarians, liberated from the malevolent forces, coalesced into a spectral council that convened in the hidden recesses of the library. Eliza, now an unwitting liaison between the living and the spectral, participated in ethereal discussions that transcended the boundaries of mortal comprehension. The council, bound by the library's arcane energy, sought to safeguard the ancient knowledge that pulsed through its walls. Within the veiled archives, Eliza uncovered a cursed tome, a volume that held the remnants of the malevolent entity's influence. The spectral council, sensing the looming threat, urged Eliza to undertake a perilous journey into the spectral realm to banish the lingering shadows that clung to the library's foundations. Guided by the spectral librarians, Eliza embarked on an astral odyssey into the ethereal plane. The library's familiar surroundings transformed into a surreal landscape where shadows danced with a life of their own. As she traversed the spectral currents, Eliza encountered echoes of the malevolent entity, an ethereal manifestation that sought to resist its banishment. In the heart of the spectral realm, Eliza confronted the remnants of the malevolent entity. Armed with the knowledge gleaned from the cursed tome, she chanted incantations that resonated through the ethereal plane. Shadows recoiled, and the malevolent remnants writhed in a spectral agony. The library's foundations quivered as the ethereal purge unfolded, a cleansing that sought to sever the lingering connection between the living and the supernatural. As Eliza's incantations reached their crescendo, a blinding light engulfed the astral realm. The malevolent remnants, unable to withstand the ethereal purge, dissipated into the cosmic tapestry. The library's spectral foundation, cleansed of the lingering shadows, resonated with a newfound harmony. The spectral librarians, their ethereal forms shimmering with an otherworldly light, nodded in silent approval. Eliza returned from the astral odyssey, the spectral currents guiding her back to the physical realm. The library, once scared by the malevolent entity's influence, stood as a testament to the resilience of the living and the spectral. The living veil between the mundane and the supernatural had been restored, and the Ravenwood Library, though forever marked by its ethereal struggles, embraced a newfound equilibrium. With the spectral purge complete, Ravenwood Library underwent an enigmatic enchantment. The ethereal currents that coursed through its veins became a symphony of whispers, a harmonic convergence between the living and the spectral. The library's architecture seemed to breathe with an otherworldly essence, and those who entered its hallowed halls felt a subtle resonance that transcended the boundaries of mortal understanding. Eliza, now attuned to the library's heightened ethereal state, discovered cryptic chronicles that unfolded beyond the written word. The tomes themselves pulsed with an arcane energy, offering glimpses into the town's enigmatic history. Each page held spectral imprints that conveyed the tales of those who had walked the fine line between the mundane and the supernatural. Word of the library's ethereal transformation spread through Ravenwood. Curious readers, drawn by the allure of the unknown, flocked to the once haunted institution. The spectral librarians, now ethereal guardians, welcomed the living with a silent reverence. As patrons perused the veiled archives, they, too, became resonant conduits, participants in the silent dialogue that unfolded between the living and the spectral. The library's newfound ethereal allure extended beyond Ravenwood's borders. Scholars, mystics, and seekers of the supernatural journeyed from distant lands to experience the arcane resonance that emanated from its core. The ethereal currents, once a source of spectral unrest, became a beacon that drew those who sought to unravel the mysteries that lay beyond the veil. As Ravenwood Library embraced its role as a living tapestry of the supernatural, Eliza and the spectral librarians became stewards of the delicate balance. Together, they wove the threads of knowledge, both mundane and arcane, into a narrative that transcended the boundaries of time. The library, now a nexus of spectral wisdom, stood as a testament to the enduring interplay between the living and the ethereal. Yet within the ethereal equilibrium, subtle challenges emerged. The spectral forces, though subdued, retained an ephemeral quality that defied complete understanding. Eliza, guided by the spectral council, grappled with the delicate dance between the living and the supernatural, knowing that maintaining the balance required eternal vigilance. The library's story, an ongoing odyssey between the realms, continued to unfold. Eliza, a guardian of the spectral secrets, walked the fine line between the mundane and the arcane. The spectral librarians, their ethereal forms resonating with the echoes of ages past, ensured that the library's enigmatic enchantment endured as a beacon in the ever-shifting currents of the supernatural. In the quiet moments between dusk and dawn, when the town slumbered and the spectral currents whispered in hushed tones, Eliza listened to the veil's whispers. The ethereal symphony that permeated the library became a lullaby that transcended the realms, a reminder that the living and the spectral, bound by an unspoken accord, shared a silent reverie. As the pages of Ravenwood Library's story turned, the boundless beyond beckoned. The library, now a living testament to the enigmatic dance between the mundane and the supernatural, stood as a gateway to the spectral realms. The living and the ethereal, forever intertwined, embraced the boundless beyond, an eternal journey where the echoes of the unknown resonated through the corridors of Ravenwood and beyond. Deep in the heart of Ashton Hollow, obscured by overgrown foliage and the passage of time, stood the forsaken and decaying Wormwood Manor, an abandoned house that bore witness to decades of secrets and sorrows. Its crumbling facade whispered tales of a dark past, and the haunting silence that enveloped the manor hinted at the horrors that lay within its forgotten halls. Legend had it that Wormwood Manor was once the residence of the enigmatic Blackwell family. Over the years, the house had become a spectral relic, its halls echoing with the unseen residue of past events. Those brave enough to approach spoke of eerie apparitions that flickered in the windows, and rumors of an otherworldly presence that lurked within the shadows spread like a chilling mist. In the dead of night, when the moon cast an ethereal glow upon the crumbling structure, the walls of Wormwood Manor seemed to whisper secrets to those who dared to listen. The wind, carrying the moans of the forsaken, rustled through the skeletal branches that clawed at the house's exterior, creating an eerie symphony that resonated with the spirits of the past. Ashton Hollow's residents, bound by a collective fear, avoided the vicinity of Wormwood Manor. The once grand estate had devolved into a haunting legacy, an ominous reminder of a darkness that refused to be forgotten. It was said that the Blackwell family's tragic demise had cast a malevolent shadow, one that persisted within the desolate halls and dilapidated chambers. Intrigued by the town's whispers and drawn by the allure of the supernatural, a group of paranormal investigators, led by the seasoned investigator Emily Harris, decided to unlock the mysteries shrouding Wormwood Manor. Armed with an arsenal of spectral detection devices, they ventured into the heart of the abandoned house, determined to unravel the enigma that clung to its decaying walls. The investigators' entry into Wormwood Manor was met with an immediate sense of foreboding. The air within the grand foyer hung heavy with the scent of decay, and the grand staircase ascended into the darkness like a portal to the unknown. As they moved deeper, the flickering light of their lanterns cast disconcerting shadows that seemed to dance in macabre tandem with the echoes of the past. The investigation led the team through creaking corridors adorned with tattered wallpaper and faded portraits. Every step echoed like a macabre heartbeat, and the investigators felt an unseen gaze upon them. The residual energy within the house seemed to intensify, as if the very walls harbored memories that yearned to be unearthed. At the heart of Wormwood Manor lay the forgotten ballroom, a once opulent space now consumed by darkness. The investigators, guided by the pulse of spectral energies, witnessed phantom waltzes that unfolded in the obsidian shadows. The ballroom, a ghostly testament to the family's tragic past, seemed to mourn its own lost splendor. As the investigators delved deeper, the malevolent presence within Wormwood Manor began to manifest. Cold spots materialized in the air, and ghastly whispers filled the investigators' ears. Emily Harris, undeterred by the rising tension, sensed an intelligence within the spectral currents, an entity that sought to communicate its torment. Determined to establish contact with the malevolent entity, the investigators arranged a seance in the dilapidated dining hall. The flickering candlelight cast an eerie glow as they chanted incantations to bridge the gap between the living and the supernatural. The atmosphere thickened, and the investigators felt a palpable shift, a spectral force that responded to their summons. As the seance unfolded, the investigators became conduits for the tormented spirits of the Blackwell family. Through them, the entity conveyed a haunting confession, a tale of betrayal, tragedy, and an unspeakable darkness that had consumed the once resplendent manor. The investigators, caught in the spectral current, bore witness to the family's anguish that lingered within the decaying walls. The malevolent entity, fueled by the investigators' unwitting invitation, manifested in a sinister tableau. The dining hall warped into a nightmarish spectacle, a realm where the living and the spectral collided. Shadows coalesced into a ghastly figure, and the investigators found themselves ensnared in a chilling manifestation of the darkness that had plagued Wormwood Manor. Reality fractured as the investigators struggled to escape the malevolent manifestation. The dining hall became a labyrinth of shifting corridors, and the air vibrated with the anguished wails of the trapped spirits. Emily Harris, grasping the severity of the situation, led her team in a desperate attempt to break free from the spectral web that threatened to consume them. As the investigators neared the brink of despair, Emily Harris faced the malevolent entity in an ethereal confrontation. Through sheer force of will, she compelled the entity to confront the darkness that bound it to Wormwood Manor. The spectral currents trembled as the entity, caught between redemption and eternal torment, grappled with the choices that had led to its malevolent manifestation. In a climactic moment, the malevolent entity succumbed to the ethereal currents. Shadows dissipated, and the dining hall returned to its dilapidated state. The investigators, now free from the spectral entanglement, found themselves standing in the haunting silence of Wormwood Manor. The malevolent presence, once bound by darkness, had been released, and the decaying house seemed to exhale a sigh of relief. In the aftermath of the ethereal confrontation, Wormwood Manor retained a sense of unease. The investigators, having glimpsed the darkness that clung to the forsaken house, felt a lingering shadow that persisted even in the waking hours. Ashton Hollow, unaware of the spectral struggles that transpired within its midst, continued to regard Wormwood Manor with an instinctual fear, a collective intuition that echoed the remnants of the malevolent entity's presence. Emily Harris, haunted by the ethereal confrontation, found herself compelled to unravel the lingering mysteries of Wormwood Manor. The investigators' resolve, undeterred by the malevolent encounter, burned like a solitary candle in the encroaching darkness. Determined to bring closure to the forsaken house, Emily delved into historical archives and town records, seeking clues that could shine a light on the shadowy past of Wormwood Manor. In a forgotten corner of Ashton Hollow's archives, Emily stumbled upon a collection of journals that belonged to the Blackwell family. As she leafed through the brittle pages, a narrative unfolded, a tale of forbidden pacts, occult rituals, and a descent into madness that spanned generations. The forgotten journals, their ink stained with the darkness that seeped through the pages, revealed a history intertwined with malevolent forces that had long plagued Wormwood Manor. The Blackwell family, it seemed, had unwittingly invited a curse into their lives, a malevolent force that latched onto their aspirations for power and immortality. As Emily delved deeper into the journals, she discovered a series of arcane rites performed within the very walls of Wormwood Manor. The curse, a consequence of these forbidden rituals, manifested as the malevolent entity that had tormented the investigators. Driven by a newfound understanding, Emily embarked on an expedition within Wormwood Manor. Armed with the knowledge gleaned from the journals, she sought to unearth the artifacts used in the cursed rituals, objects that had become conduits for the malevolent forces that still lingered within the decaying house. The investigators, wary yet resolute, followed Emily into the heart of the forsaken estate. In a hidden chamber beneath the manor, The investigators discovered a long-forgotten seal, a relic intricately inscribed with symbols of an ancient and malevolent origin. The seal, a focal point for the curse that bound Wormwood Manor, resonated with an ominous energy as the investigators circled it. Emily, guided by a combination of historical insight and intuition, discerned that breaking the seal was the key to severing the house from its malevolent past. As the investigators gathered to break the seal, the air within the hidden chamber thickened with a palpable tension. The curse, dormant for decades, fought back with spectral resistance. Shadows flickered, and ethereal whispers filled the chamber as the investigators chanted incantations to unravel the malevolent forces that had taken root within Wormwood Manor. In a surge of ethereal energy, the seal shattered. The house quivered as if awakening from a long and malevolent slumber. Shadows writhed and danced, but unlike before, there was an undercurrent of release, a departure of the malevolent forces that had held Wormwood Manor captive. The investigators, bathed in the spectral surge, felt a profound shift in the energy that permeated the Forsaken house. Wormwood Manor, no longer bound by the curse that had plagued it for generations, seemed to exhale a sigh of relief. The investigators, standing within the hidden chamber, bore witness to a transformation, the lingering darkness relinquishing its hold on the Forsaken estate. Ashton Hollow, though unaware of the ethereal struggles that had unfolded, felt a subtle shift in the collective apprehension that had surrounded Wormwood Manor. As the investigators exited the Forsaken house, the night air carried a different resonance. The haunting silence that once clung to Wormwood Manor had transformed into a stillness, an echo of the restored equilibrium. Emily Harris, gazing back at the decaying structure, felt a sense of closure that transcended the supernatural. The house, no longer shackled by the malevolent forces that had tormented it, stood as a testament to the resilience of the living against the spectral currents. Despite the apparent calm that settled over Wormwood Manor, there were whispers, subtle echoes that lingered in the air. The investigators, attuned to the supernatural currents, began to hear faint murmurs during the night breeze. The town's residents, though oblivious to the spectral struggles, reported peculiar dreams and an inexplicable sense of being watched. The Forsaken house, it seemed, still harbored whispers that defied the tangible and transcended the mundane. As days turned into weeks, unexplained phenomena unfolded within Ashton Hollow. Objects shifted inexplicably, and the air crackled with an otherworldly energy. Some residents claimed to see ethereal figures in peripheral visions, and a sense of unease settled over the town like a shroud. The investigators, sensing that the spectral currents had not fully dissipated, returned to Wormwood Manor in an attempt to unravel the lingering mysteries. Within the walls of the restored manor, the investigators encountered residual shadows, remnants of the malevolent forces that clung to the Forsaken house. It became apparent that the shattered curse had not vanished entirely. The investigators, now faced with a dilemma, delved deeper into the arcane archives to discern the nature of the lingering shadows that resisted the restorative currents. A careful exploration of Wormwood Manor revealed hidden chambers that had escaped the investigators' notice during the initial confrontation. These concealed spaces, tucked away behind false walls and obscured by spectral illusions, housed artifacts imbued with the remnants of the shattered curse. The investigators, guided by spectral intuition, unearthed relics that emanated with a malevolent energy that resisted dissolution. As the investigators studied the artifacts, they uncovered anomalies that defied conventional understanding. The malevolent forces, once subdued, seemed to adapt and manifest in unpredictable ways. The artifacts, now conduits for the residual shadows, pulsed with an ominous glow that hinted at a deeper and more insidious nature. Emily Harris, facing the renewed challenge, realized that severing the residual shadows required a deeper understanding of the curse's origins. In the forgotten journals of the Blackwell family, the investigators discovered hidden revelations that shed light on the elusive nature of the curse. The curse, it seemed, was not merely an arcane anomaly, but a sentient force, an entity that thrived on the echoes of despair and malice. The investigators, faced with the revelation, understood that breaking the shackles of the curse required an unprecedented level of understanding and unity. Armed with newfound insights, the investigators devised a ritual to foster unity among themselves and confront the residual shadows as a collective force. Within the restored ballroom, the investigators formed a circle, their hands interlinked, and chanted incantations that resonated with the spectral energies. The room vibrated with an ethereal hum as the investigators invoked a unity that transcended the boundaries between the living and the supernatural. As the ritual reached its crescendo, the investigators confronted the residual shadows in a collective effort. The spectral forces, challenged by the unity of the living, recoiled and writhed in a desperate struggle. The investigators, bound by a shared purpose, directed their collective will toward dissolving the lingering remnants of the shattered curse. In a burst of ethereal light, the residual shadows began to dissipate. The artifacts, once conduits of malevolence, lost their ominous glow. The investigators, their unity prevailing over the lingering darkness, felt a profound release, the shackles of the curse finally dissolving into the spectral currents. Wormwood Manor, cleansed of its malevolent legacy, stood as a testament to the enduring power of unity against the supernatural forces that sought to bind it.